Hey guys, my name is Jason with Mount Baker Mining and Metals, and on today's video, I'm going to be processing down some of this rock I got from California. A few months ago, Harry and I went down to one of his mines in California. We worked underground, we high-graded the vein, we brought out a couple 100 pounds of rock. I've mailed it back up to myself, and on today's video, we're going to crush it up, concentrate it, smelt it down, and we're going to get some gold out of it. And for those of you who maybe missed the first part or want a review, I'll leave it right after this clip. And for those of you who want to skip ahead, I'll put a timestamp right up here in the corner. Hey guys, my name is Jason. I'm here in the California desert with mine operator. We're gonna go get some gold today at one of their underground gold mines. Here's our first look at the portal. We'll get our snake check out of the way here, and then we'll talk about what we're doing.
Watch your head.
Oh, you got them painted nice for me.
Well, it's not as bad as your mine, but the back is a little higher than yours, but it's just low enough to hit your head on every damn rock in this thing. So we started painting them so we didn't keep bumping our head.
Well, we're both 6 foot or over.
Yeah.
I think those miners back then were 5'2".
That's right.
And will they be just laying in the middle of the drift, or
They'll
will
just
they
be laying on the ground, chilling out.
So it's not like
No.
they're going to be coiled up in a corner or anything.
Well, that's the worst part. The last year I came here, there was one right here.
Just right behind the
Just
little...
right there. There was another one behind the wall here. There's another one over here. And then the fourth one crawled into a hole, and we couldn't get them out. So
they can really kind of be anywhere.
yeah. Well, I think you're going to get disappointed. I'm not seeing anything. Snakes are usually within the first 20 to 40 feet of the mine.
Hey, I'm happy with no snakes.
Yeah.
I'd much rather have no snakes than snakes. Well, we're clear on snakes. Didn't find any snakes, which I'm very happy about.
I am as well.
All right, we're back here by the raise, right? We're on
Yep.
the lower level?
Yep. So when we first found this place, this raise was plugged. And this is obviously where they're sending their ore. This chute is original. We made a little modification to it. A little bit of rehab, but this was original to the mine. And once we got that raise plugged, we were able to explore the shaft without much issue.
Nice.
So there's multiple levels. There's 7 levels, so we'd be on the 7th level.
Oh, wow.
But it's only 100 foot between the top and the bottom levels.
Okay, so they're like 15 feet apart or something, whatever.
Yeah,
7
15,
times.
20 feet apart, and they were poking into the hottest portions of the vein.
Okay. The vein isn't on this level we're in.
Yeah, actually it is.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, so the vein is almost vertical, but right above the raise, the vein dips right through the wall, right through where you're standing, hits the hanging wall here, and then it drops vertical again.
Oh, okay.
So we're in this weird transition where it bent, but it's pretty barren down here. We got no gold in this haulage at it here.
Oh, interesting.
It isn't until you get up towards the top. So when the old timers drove this adit for hauling the ore out of the upper workings, they intercepted a vein that I don't think they expected, so they chased it. And there's a little bit of quartz calcitiny in here, or calcite, and it runs all the way back to drift here. So they chased it. And we were able to correlate this vein on the surface. It's this really thin, iron oxidized out quartz. It's super thin. But they obviously terminated here. I don't get any values except for little slivers in the altered rock. This is limonite, oxidized iron, and we get tiny, tiny, tiny traces of gold in that, but there's not enough to really make a meal out of.
Yeah, pretty thin.
Yeah, very thin. And on the surface, it stays pretty narrow, so we think they didn't think it was worth chasing. The good stuff's up top.
Let's go find the good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We're headed up to the 2nd level now,
Yep.
Upper level.
Yep. Back in the late 1800s and all the way into the 30s, the miners did everything on foot. So one of the cool things about this area are all the little, we call them goat paths, but it's the miners' paths, and they'd use mules. And they would carry their stuff up and go to work. There's prospects all over these mountains, and you can follow these things for miles throughout the mountains here. And every once in a while you come across a working, kind of like this one.
Awesome. So we're going to use we're going to walk in their footsteps.
You're going to walk in the footsteps of men that used that in the late 1800s and even into the 30s.
All right.
1930s.
Cool. Man, what a view of the valley from here. So those huge alluvial fans coming out of each one of those drainages. Way different than back home.
Oh yeah. We call this a commanding view.
Yeah.
You have a view of about 180 degrees.
Yeah, for sure.
You can see pretty much everything. So we came up to the top dump here way back when we started out, and like I said, we chased the veins and the lower workings, didn't find anything. Then we started testing the dump, and the dump actually came back with some gold. So we started trying to figure out what in the dump had gold. So we take this red, quartzy, fuzzy looking stuff with iron limonite in there and crush it. And we were running it in a small hammer mill, one of our buddies made, and running it on a sluice, and it weighed out at a 1/4 ounce just from this. So the pile behind you, this is all the quartz with limonite and chalcedonic quartz in there, and we get anything from 1/4 to 1 ounce per ton out of that stuff.
And so the more mineralized, the better.
More mineralized, the better,
I would guess. And this is the vein material that you guys have kind of stockpiled here.
That's right. The way I figured it out is somebody did the same thing before us.
Sure.
And so I took those piles and ran them, and we didn't have a jaw crusher, so I'd sit there with a hammer and beat on it, and I couldn't get but a 20-pound sample for about an hour's worth of work. So, you know, there's nothing we could really do with it at the time.
Tell me about your fancy tool there.
So somebody thought it was a good idea to let mine operator borrow the Olympus Vanta. So we've had this thing for a little while, and I wanted to take it out here and test it out on the same places I've used our last XRF.
And so Harry, tell me, what does this thing do?
This thing is X-ray fluorescent. So what it's doing is it's looking at the minerals in the ground, and it's giving me the mineral makeup of what it's seeing. So this is basically geochemistry in a modern instrumentation, and what I'm hoping to see is my favorite 2 letters, AU. We'll see. If I don't put this thing right on the gold, it won't see it. So it's scanning a cubic centimeter. So with gold, gold's not disseminated through a rock like a lot of other minerals are. So if you're hunting for gold with an XRF, you literally have to be perfect on exactly where the gold is. So in this case, I'll probably shoot around the dump until I see what I want to see. So 15, so...
You got your favorite letters.
Yeah, AU, 15 parts per million, and with an error of 7. So that's about what my first XRF said. It said 8 parts per million, which comes out to about 8 grams per ton. Yeah, but half of that is sulfide. So I'm gonna get maybe half of that in a free mill gold, and the other half has got to go get packaged up for leach.
We're at the upper portal now. Snake detection round 2 here.
Yeah, so you're standing on backfill right now. Whoever started this prospect before it became a larger scale project, they worked in the vein and they stoped up all the way to the surface. And you can see the vein up here. This vein still has values in it, and people have been picking on it over the years. And so when we got here, this is about the height of the material waste rock that was here. We think someone probably blasted it down to keep people from going in. So Chad, Ron, and I, and Greg took all the material out so we could get into here, so we could start, you know, doing bulk samples out of the top dump.
That's a big job.
Yeah.
Well, we're pretty well clear of snakes, we think.
Yeah. So your viewers might like this. Our plan for getting the ore out was to use an ore chute. And so what we did is we made an 8-inch irrigation line, run it all the way down the shaft to the ore bin at the bottom. So the old timers had done this with wood, but people over the years dropping rock down destroyed it. So we had to do it ourselves.
So your plan was to muck it into that funnel, and it drops all the way down to the bottom, and you bring it out to the truck. 1
wheelbarrow at a time.
It
goes actually pretty fast.
So there's your...
You can see the platforms down there. We put all those platforms in for rock restraint in case anything fell down when we were in the shaft. So we got our manway and we got our chute.
Why is that ladder so small?
Well, this is what's cool about this mine. They were pulling ore out in a bucket, and this is a bucket rail. Not a strap rail, but a bucket rail, and they were hand cranking with a big, I guess a big winch, and they were doing it by hand, pulling the ore and the waste rock up the ladder.
Ooh.
So there'd be two dudes sitting here cranking on either side, pulling up 100 pounds at a time, and I know the guy that has the bucket from here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It's pretty big. But they would drag it up this ladder.
Man, oh man.
A bucket rail. We did something similar at one of our other mines, just about an 8-foot section, and it actually works really well.
All right, so what is our plan today?
Okay, so we're going to set up some lighting, and we're going to get the impact hammer in one of the workings in here. Okay. I'm going to take you to what we call the I-5. It's the 5th level. And it's got a limonite pocket that they stopped picking on, but we assayed somewhere around 0.4 ounce per ton.
Okay.
And that's hanging off the footwall.
Okay.
So we're gonna go right for the good stuff, but it's hard. It's really hard stuff. So we'll see if we can get you 100 pounds.
All right. So we'll go back down to the bottom, climb up. How far?
It's gonna be about 30 feet.
30 feet.
I'm gonna get you in a harness, and I have a safety line that you're gonna put a Prusik on.
Okay.
And then climb up the ladder, and then I'll get you set up.
They're going to make me climb with ropes. I'm not really down with ropes, but it's okay. That's what you got to do. It is such perfect weather out here right now. It's about 68 degrees, sun shining, a little breeze. Man, I wish I had this in Washington. We're unpacking and moving in.
You like that?
Hey, it works. We're all ready to move in.
Yeah, everybody always asks why you're breathing hard. Well, the elevation's like over 2,000 feet, like 2,600 feet, and I got sea level lungs.
Well, we carried all that stuff up from the truck.
And without a nice rail and a source of trees, I gotta use a cart to get things in and out of my mine.
I got my harness on. Fits like a glove. We're getting our cords ready. You're gonna run power all the way back.
Oh yeah, otherwise we're not gonna be able to break any rock today.
Okay, you gotta have power.
I wish we had air, but I don't have an airline that long.
This will work. Harry, it looks like you've done this before.
Yeah, just a couple times. We spent, so this, like I said, this is the first mine that I ever got my hands on, and we spent, you know, all kinds of time testing. I think it took us a year and a half to figure out where all the gold was, and then I got distracted by other mines. But we've been here. I've probably been here over 100 times.
100 times.
Yeah, easy.
And how far is it back to the main raise? Or the raise?
About 250 feet.
Oh, it's a ways.
Yeah,
they did some work.
Yeah, they did this all with dry drilling too. They did not use. They didn't have water.
Ooh.
So water was scarce, so everything was dry drill.
Whoa, we've got lights. This is actually really cool. Well, that changes the scenery down here, doesn't it? That's where we're going. Here's going up the ladder. We made it back to the raise. Now we're gonna string some lights up there, but Harry, you gotta go first.
Yeah, here, check this out.
Ooh. Yeah, it's like a Christmas show in here.
Yeah, we did not do this for your viewers. This is just for us, so don't think you're special.
I'm not that special. I'm a little special.
Yeah. So I gotta go up and look for snakes in the raise, and this is my least favorite part because I have platforms, and as you're coming up the ladder through the manway, you can be face to face with a rattlesnake. So I use a little mirror to kind of peek around the corner so I don't get bit in the face. That's a bad place to be bit by a snake.
Yeah, you don't want to get bit in the face.
No. So if you hear me scream like a girl,
I'll run out of here.
You know,
I'll leave you where you are.
Yeah. I will scream like a girl too.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, hopefully we can get that on camera.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. Actually, I really don't want to see snakes today.
And what's nice is this is like the coolest part of the mine because of the airflow.
Uh-huh.
The air's just ripping through here, and it's not cold. 38 degrees like yours. It's like a 68 to 72, almost year round.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Is the air right now going up and out or down?
It's going up.
It's going up.
Yeah, so what's really cool about, either they thought about it or they just got lucky, but all the dust goes up and out. So when they're filling the ore bin, we found when we're filling our ore bin, all the dust comes in and gets sucked right back out.
Oh, nice.
But the poor guys up in the stopes are sitting there getting dusted out the whole time.
Right.
The guy down here, the swamper, he had the best job.
Because he was in the clear.
He was in the clear, and all he had to do was load in our cart and push it, and he was out of the dust pretty much the whole day.
Oh, man.
Wasn't drilling, wasn't hammering, so he's probably the disabled guy out of the group.
Well, and he lived the longest.
Yeah, usually the one-eyed guy's the one that moves the ore, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, I just climbed up the ladder to the 6th level. Harry's gonna hand me stuff through this little tiny hole. Is this a good spot for me here? Or?
Yes, sir.
I'm just stacking it on this little spot in the 6th.
That's right.
Well, it's really blowing here.
You like that, huh?
It's nice.
There you go.
All right, one-handed. Trying to get all the YouTube magic here and run a mine at the same time.
You're doing a lot better than I am. I only got the intro.
Okay, there we go. That's a big hammer drill.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it's undersized for the weight needed.
On my shoe. On my boot. A little more. Yeah, got it.
One more bucket.
Hey.
Are you having fun yet?
Oh yeah, it's always a trip going underground. Every mine, I mean, we all use the same principles, but every mine is, they use them a little different. They had a little bit different idea about how it should be done, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, this is all Mr. Ingersoll's idea.
Okay.
Did this.
Ingersoll of Ingersoll Rand.
Yes, sir, the Ingersoll.
He ran these mines.
Yep. All right, I'm coming up with it.
Okay, let me get up on this platform here. Here's a little look around at the 6. So they chased a vein back there a little bit. Didn't see much. There's kind of a good shot of the little slip. And it's not like a standard quartz vein like I have in my mines. It's just kind of a faulted, brecciated zone that is apparently mineralized.
Oh yeah.
But it sure didn't have a whole lot to work with.
It opened big. It opened to a couple feet up top.
Did it?
Yeah.
And
You
you're-
can kind of see it. The vein bends. It takes a little bend here. I don't know what the geological term for that is.
Yeah, just like a change of strike.
Yeah, so the change of strike, it comes down, and then I told you that it dipped.
Uh-huh.
So this is where it dips into the wall. And when it dipped, it dropped out a lot of manganese.
Okay.
I've tested this ad nauseum, out of spec.
No gold.
No gold. And I know this is the last level because this is their muck plate.
Ah, right.
This is the last heading that they were working before they sold, or whoever was working this last.
Uh-huh.
So we're underneath the pocket.
This is where they ran out.
Yeah.
Okay.
We tried to get this thing out of here, but it's not light.
Yeah.
So they must have drugged this thing around from mine to mine. Wherever their main team was working. I'm sure their A team was the guys that drugged this around with them everywhere.
Yep. Okay, I'll let you go up and get bit in the face.
Yeah. So for
You got your James Bond mirror. Cool, thank you. Hey, is that a dead snake right there?
Yep. Yeah, that's the one that scared me the last time I came in here.
There you go. Mine snake.
That's a desert chicken, and it's taking a dirt nap.
Uh-huh. Well, that's fine with me. Okay, clear. There we go, taking the tools up to the I-5.
It's a lot lighter than a jack leg.
Yeah. I bet it doesn't hit as hard though.
No, not even close. All right, I'm clear opening.
Okay, I'm coming up then, I guess.
Nothing. Yep, you should be good.
Okay.
I'm clear.
Okay, coming up. Right up to Harry there. And the trick here is not to disturb too much dust because it all blows up in your face. Yeah. Whew. Dusty.
Sorry about that. This is a desert.
Desert mine.
Yeah, once you start moving dust, man, it's time to put that mask on. Be good for now.
All right, looking right up the shaft. And Harry on the platform. Oh. Now we're into the old ladders.
Now you're on the old ladder, yes sir.
What's this, a 100-year-old ladder?
That's a good guess.
Huh.
30s is the last time it was actually used for mining, so the age of it, unknown.
Old.
Older than us, yeah.
Yeah.
So it goes up a good ways, and then it gets pretty bad, so. Once you get acclimated once you're up.
This is the I-5?
Yes sir, I'm on the I-5.
And you're on the south side?
Mm-hmm. And when I first came down this shaft on a rope rappelling, about 10 feet below you was the plug, and it was nothing but timber sticking up all jagged, and so if you were to fall, you would have been skewered.
Just pungy
Yeah,
poles?
like punji sticks, yeah.
Ooh.
All the timber was splintered, there's rocks everywhere, it was nasty stuff.
Ooh.
But
Got it cleared.
Got it cleared.
All right, so we're working this side over here?
Yes sir, this is I-5. Let me get out of the way so you can get in here.
What do we need? Do I need anything from here?
Just mask.
Mask?
I'll probably just take the whole box. It's kind of tight in here. They were chasing this vein, and they did not. I don't know why they didn't finish it because it's good. It's real good.
Mm.
Let me get out of the way. We'll
Okay,
do one of
so
these.
we'll do a little switch.
Yeah, we'll do the fire drill here.
Switcheroo.
Once you get in there, you'll see.
So I'm looking for the limonite.
Limonite.
Oh. There's a little bit of an acrobatic section.
Yeah, these were hardy gentlemen back in the day.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, what are we looking at here? This little rusty pocket.
That's it. That's the vein we gotta chase.
And so tell me again here for a minute.
Yeah.
You took a channel sample across the whole face.
That's right.
And it came back at a 0.4?
0.4 ounce per ton.
But you think this might be 2 ounces a ton or 6 ounces a ton or something?
We took a high grade and I got 1/4 ounce by weight in the sluice. So
Okay.
sluice isn't all that efficient for getting numbers, but that was the free mill.
Well, we'll have to get some of this out of here and run it on my shaker table.
Yeah. So you're looking at that limonite vein in front of you.
Right here.
Yeah, the whole thing.
This is the good stuff.
Right. See right at the face there, where it's kind of pocketed in.
Back here.
Yeah, that's where the limonite pocket goes. And we're plans was to chase that after we mine the top dump.
Okay. And so we're jumping ahead a little bit. Like we do.
Yeah, I'm bringing you to the best spot that I have.
Okay.
Other than, some of the other mines that we're partnered up on.
So there is some quartz in there.
Oh yeah.
So it's a quartz vein.
This white material right there, that's quartz. With my lights on.
This stuff?
To the left.
Yes.
You passed it.
I didn't hear.
Move your finger down.
Oh,
That's
here.
all quartz.
All right. Well, let's get the good stuff.
Yes, sir.
Oh, down here, this looks kind of browny good too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So all this, this is the structure.
Yeah, and you see the yellow stuff on the left, right up to the hanging wall? All of it. That stuff carries values too.
Really?
Yeah.
What about over here too?
Nothing.
Nothing. But just kind of right in here.
Once you get to the altered rock carries gold as well.
Okay.
And we figured it's in the limonite, but it's also sometimes on the hanging wall and footwall throughout the mine. It's on both sides, we think.
So just take a little more and
take a little more.
Just so you don't miss any.
Uh-huh.
Okay, but this is the good stuff right here. Take all this.
All of it.
Okay. We got our marching orders. Now who's going to come mine it for us?
I can do it.
All right, well, let's get started and see what we can get.
All right. You've got the drill there. I usually chip into the pan and I put it into your favorite, a sandbag.
Yeah.
And then I put it in the bucket and I lower it down the shaft. And one of the things we also do is we put down a piece of canvas on the ground, you know, to catch all the fines.
Boy, you're smart miners here.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've been testing for a while, but we've not been able to break out of the prospector testing mode yet.
I see. Well, and I don't know if you can see me or not, but my head can barely fit through this section where I'm standing. So it is pretty tight in here. What's that, 18 inches across? So the vein is narrow here, hopefully rich.
And you're standing on about 10 feet of waste rock.
They backfilled.
Yeah, they backfilled, so you're in a mini stope.
A little mini stope. There's the face behind me. And so it's tight working conditions, but we're gonna get some gold out of here today, I think. Well, I'm gonna try and show you down there about, how far is that, 30 feet down, Harry?
That's my best guess, about 30 feet.
Is the lower level where we walked in on. And then I'm panning up the ladder. And you can see daylight up there at the top. So that's where we walked in and looked down the shaft. And there's a pretty nice little stope right over here.
Oh yeah, it gets big up there.
Yeah. I'm making Harry do the work first so I can film him while he's all nice and clean. Hey, how'd you get so dirty so fast?
Oh, I chose to wear black.
It shows up. Well, call me when you get 100 pounds. You got your mask on. Now I can make funny and make jokes and you can't respond. Thumbs up. There we go.
So what do you think? We're out of our minds?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, this is how we used to do it, man.
This is crazy.
Everyone's gonna think you're nuts for trying this too.
Yeah, probably. That's the good stuff?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, good stuff. Okay.
Yep. All that little brown stuff is where most of the gold resides. Most of the gold resides kind of in the limonite,
Okay.
the high grade stuff, and then the quartz and the other rock inside the rock is generally lower grade. So all this dust falling off, that's the fine stuff.
Will we be able to see gold in some of this? Maybe?
No.
Too fine.
Well, I mean, I've never slabbed this stuff before, but
Okay.
crushing it, yes. Oh yeah.
Cool. But like, I'm working this quartz here,
That's fine.
but the best stuff is this limonite seam.
Yep.
Got.
Yep. The limonite seams that were in upper part of the workings were quite large, quite wide.
And red.
Multiple feet. What I really look for is the little vugs.
Okay.
Yeah. And most of the time, you know, when you look in quartz and vugs, you don't get anything, but in this stuff, there's pockets in it.
Good stuff, huh?
Have you ever mined limonite before?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, so this is the first.
That's good. It looks good.
Yeah. Yeah, high grade away. When you get into those red pockets, they're the limonite, and it just starts flowing out. It's pretty awesome.
That's what you want,
But it's nasty stuff. It's so dusty.
Here's the stuff we're getting out. It looks amazing. It's that limonite stuff. That's where the gold hangs out. And our buddy Jeff just did a video on this stuff.
He did.
Essentially saying that's where the good stuff is, out here in the desert.
Oh yeah.
And that's what we're finding right up in this crack.
Yep.
A bunch of nice limonite.
It's gonna be interesting to see that go through your system.
Yeah, I can't wait. So if you want to learn more about limonite, go check out Jeff's video on his channel. I want to try and get this big chunk out of here, which I think I'm close.
All right.
And then it'll open us up some. Oh!
What you got?
Taking all that beautiful stuff.
What are you looking?
There might be issues still on the rock. I don't know.
Oh yeah, wow. Oh yeah.
That's a pretty chunk there.
Yep. All those big chunks up top that you saw?
Uh-huh. Pretty soft.
The reason why we think the top dump is so hot is because they were stockpiling that stuff up there.
Okay.
And the weathering just, you know, limonite out in the weather. We think that's why the top dump is so rich, because the stuff that was low grade to them, the weather took it right out of it, dropped the gold. That's why the gold's all free mill.
I see.
So they basically concentrated it for us by leaving it up there.
So we're in the good spot.
Yeah.
This is all good?
It's all good.
All right. Well, I've taken a little break. I'm letting Harry in there and do his thing. We're getting some really, really good stuff out of there. I'm really excited to mail it back to myself and run through my system. It's just quartz, and then right on the east side of the vein, it's just covered in limonite. It looks really, really good.
Got the limonite pocket for sure. Oh yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
That's awesome.
Woo. This is gold in there.
That goes deep.
What's in your hands?
It's a natural opening.
We're making some real good progress here. We're about to drop a big chunk. Oh yeah! It's 50 pounds right there.
Now we gotta get it out.
Yeah. How does it look?
It's heavy.
It's a good sign.
Yeah. You think your jaw crusher can handle that?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Throw it in the crusher.
Throw it in the crusher. Gee, that's some huge.
That'd be worth cutting.
All right.
We should slab that
Okay.
or something.
That's a massive. All right, do me a favor. Get the camera up and look at all these colors up that this
Okay,
is
here, I'll
dropped
let you.
from. Stuff is wild.
That's where that big piece just broke out of?
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
You can see the altered country rock, and then it's calcite quartz friends.
That vein's getting big, dude.
Yeah, I know. It's like I said, when I came in, I drilled in multiple directions trying to get a sample, and I was excited because I was going off at an angle that I didn't expect, and it kept going. So I knew something was going on here. We just, you know, took you to get me in here. There's some good colors in here.
I'm excited about the width.
Yeah.
The mineable width is getting bigger and bigger.
We get these sulfides here. We call them the grays in the quartz, and we've been able to associate it with, the gold is close to this. So somewhere in this area, associated with that, I'm expecting to see some color out of it. And this is altered country rock, and this has values up until right about that point, and then the rest is worthless. So when it starts to get iron impregnated, for some reason the gold goes with it, or the gold's coming out of the country rock, one of the two. I don't know.
We just knocked down another big piece. The vein's much smaller on it. Harry's knocking some wall rock off. What do you see, Harry?
This is all This is all calcite right here.
No way.
Yeah, that's calcite and quartz.
And that's where you're saying all the gold's been.
Oh yeah, it's calcite. See it green? That's calcite, buddy.
And that's the rich stuff. Nice. This is getting real exciting now. We're finding all the telltale signs that Harry keeps telling me. Good gold.
Look at that. That's awesome.
Nice.
Would the proper term be botryoidal?
Botryoidal?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, that stuff right there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got a lot of iron in it, but chalcedonic quartz.
And that's the good stuff.
It's the good stuff.
Get all that waste off of there and we'll bag it up. Or do something with it. Have you ever taken this much out of the spot?
No.
No.
We did 100 pounds the first time.
Oh, you did? Okay.
We ran it through a hammer mill, and if the piece was bigger than maybe a golf ball, we couldn't crush it.
Oh, really?
So all the big pieces are still sitting in my yard.
Oh.
So
this will be the first real big test that you've done.
for this spot, yeah, the top dump, we ran a ton.
Okay.
But our table wasn't right. There was a lot of factors, and it ended up being in the concentrates is 20 ounces per ton in the concentrates.
Okay.
But we ran a ton, and we only had like, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 pounds of cons.
Yeah.
So the numbers didn't add up.
Yeah. And that's just dump stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do we got here?
That's the iron sulfide. But the gold is here or here or in the center of this. It's in one of these. Whenever I crush rock with this stuff, it's gonna make your cons all silvery though.
Yeah. That's okay. Table doesn't care.
No, table don't care.
And we can shoot all this with the XRF outside.
Mm-hmm.
Really pinpoint what we're seeing. There was a spot I really liked on this piece.
That would have been
Yeah, right over
there.
here. I really like that stuff. Here, move your light for a second. There you go. I don't know what that is, but that's my favorite for XRF right there. Yeah.
Oh, I think you might be
That might be another slabber.
slabbing.
Yeah.
Well, I won't lie to you, I've never slabbed this stuff before, so I don't know what it looks like. So
Hey.
it might be hideous.
No, anything with gold in is going to be beautiful.
Yeah. But these reds are pretty amazing.
Well, what do you say? Do you think we can get more out of here easy? Are you ready to go home? You want to?
I could do this all day. So
Me too. I have no idea what time it is.
no, it's funny because we'd be working in here and then we go outside and it's like dark.
It could be midnight out there.
What
We wouldn't
happened?
know.
What happened to dinner? No idea.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Maybe we take a break, get some water, and
All right.
take out some of these bigger pieces.
Break.
See what time it is.
You never gave us breaks.
What's a break?
I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
What's a break?
We took plenty of breaks.
Cool. Let's get some of these bigger rocks out.
All right.
I'd be excited to zap them with the XRF. It's definitely later than we thought it was going to be. So we might go out to the sunset here. It's still light,
It is still light.
but not for long.
I think there's something about the minerals in the rocks that make you lose track of time out here.
Yeah, it's a time warp for sure. Sunset in the desert. Oh, good day. I'm really excited about what we found. I cannot wait to get the XRF on some of this stuff and then get it back to my crusher. Well, because it's so late, we're just gonna go grab our stuff and get out of here. We got somebody making us dinner and we don't want to be late. So I'll get what shots I can us getting our ore out, but then we're gonna get the XRF going tonight and see if we can pinpoint some real hot spots with gold in them.
It's all old growth timber. You can see the grains are really tight. So this, back in the day when they're getting lumber up here, the gentleman with the, I guess the, what do you call it? The horse and carriage or the horse and cart or whatever.
Oh yeah.
It was $20 a ton of lumber. to deliver up in our area.
$20 a ton?
Yeah, they paid $20 a ton of lumber, and they have enough lumber and hay for the mules to make it up. So this wood had a long journey.
Well, and $20 a ton wasn't gold 29 or 39 or
it was $35 an ounce.
30, yeah.
Yeah, so they're paying $20 for a ton of lumber.
So over half an ounce of gold.
Yeah, so these guys, if they had to use timber, it was for a reason. They weren't just screwing around. And they repurposed too. Like some of the workings we've been in, you could tell some lumber had been reused, 3, 4, and 5 times in different areas.
Sure.
Jason, we're still doing sandbags.
Oh, I know, you never get away from it.
No.
A couple of sandbags won't be bad.
Couple of sandbags, no big deal. It's going to a good home.
Yeah. Yeah, don't worry, I'll reuse them. Or you'll reuse them next year.
Okay, clear shaft.
Yeah, clear. Come on down. And you want me to stop it on the 6, right?
If you want. Yeah, that sounds good. On the 6.
Okay. Okay, clear.
I'll tell you what, I like this vertical shaft stuff a lot more than that raise of yours.
I think we got some good comments on our last video.
Yeah.
About how to improve the raise, so we're going to make some big improvements next year. We got a lot of good comments on that video.
Yeah.
Thank you, viewers, for letting us know your thoughts on how to improve the raise at my new gold mine. Okay, send a big old rock down. Just the ones with gold in them, though.
It's a big one.
That's our big one.
Too big for a sandbag.
Yeah, too big for a flat rate box, too.
Yeah.
Touchdown.
Touchdown.
I want to give a big shout out to mine operator and thank him so much for letting me come down, hang out with them, and mine some of their gold. I had a great time. I've picked out some higher grade rocks, and later in the video we'll take them over to the rock shop and we'll slab them up and we'll see if we can find any gold in any of this stuff. But right now, let's take our material, we'll get it weighed out so we know how much we're working with. We'll go crush it, concentrate it on the shaker table, and then we'll bring it back here and smelt it. I've got 73 pounds of ore, so let's run it through the equipment behind me and see if we can get any gold. The whole process starts here with the 6x10 jaw crusher. The ore gets fed down into the jaws where it's crushed to about 3/4 inch minus. Falls out the bottom. Once it's crushed, we bring it over to the 16x12 hammer mill. We feed a little bit of water down the hammer mill to keep the dust down and to make a slurry to feed onto the shaker table. The hammer mill has 20 swinging chrome hammers that do the crushing. And once the ore gets crushed down to less than 0.8 millimeters, it can fall through that slot into the orange discharge chute. Once the slurry flows down the chute into the aluminum distributor trough on the shaker table, it's fed evenly across the grooves in the shaker table. The gold and any dense sulfides or oxides fall down into the grooves and are transported across the table up under the water bar, the cleaning plane. The gold and only the heaviest minerals can move up under the water bar and form a small band down into the number 1 concentrates. There's a band of other dense material that comes down into the number 2 concentrates, and it's caught by these 2 safety grooves at the bottom of the table that run the full length of the table. There's also a number 3 middlings fraction that forms a band of sulfides at the end of the short grooves on the shaker table, and all the less dense gangue minerals such as quartz and calcite flow down into the number 4 tailings trough and are piped down into our spiral classifier. Anything that falls down to the bottom of the spiral classifier gets augered up the screw into the coarse tailings. and anything that can stay suspended in the water flow flows out this black pipe into our buried settling tank. The water is continuously recirculated through the system and nothing gets discharged to the environment. We sell all this equipment you see here today, so if you would like more information or pricing, please check out our website. You can also send us an email or give us a call. I'm brushing down the table to clean out all the grooves, and there's quite a bit of this pyrite stuff, but then a lot of the stuff behind it I think is oxidized. It's all red. It doesn't look like sulfides, and that's real common in shallow mines in California and the Southwest, where they're still in that oxide zone, so all the water's trickled down through over the millions of years and oxidized all the stuff, but we still have a little bit of the stubborn pyrite here we're gonna have to deal with in the smelt. There is a little line of gold at the end though. It's gonna work its way right into the number one. Here's a quick look at our number one concentrates there. Weighs way less than a pound. And here's our number two. Probably have 1.5 pounds or 2 pounds there. I'm hoping we can get all of this mixed together into one smelt, and then we can just smelt it all down. 142 grams in number one and 800 grams in number two. Well, I mixed some of the number two, so we have a total of 581 grams we're gonna smelt. Okay, what I've got here, let's see if I can remember all these numbers. I've got 580 grams of concentrates. I've got 580 grams of anhydrous borax. I've got 580 grams of soda ash. I've got about 100 grams of silica, because I figure there's about 100 grams more silica in here. You can see the little white flecks of it in there. So there's some in there. We're shooting for about 200 grams of silica. I've also added 100 grams of these potassium nitrate beads for an oxidizer. I've used these in the past off and on, but on my last video, I ended up with a pretty big matte layer, so I'm gonna try and start adding some potassium nitrate into my flux, especially when there's sulfides. See if we can oxidize some of that stuff away. I'm gonna add some collector metal to this, some bismuth. I'm gonna add about 100 grams of collector metal. And then once it's all molten and all the oxidizer has done its thing, I'm gonna add iron into the crucible to try and reduce any bismuth or any other base metals that got oxidized by the niter. And then we'll pour it into our cone mold, and we'll get a button at the bottom of metal that'll have all of our precious metals. While we wait for the smelt to heat up and get ready to pour, we'll come over and we'll slab up some of these rocks. So we'll take a slab there, see what we can find. I was just breaking open some pieces to take over to the saw, and I'll try and get this, but right in there, is that a little piece of gold right there? But that is a good sign. That's where I'd expect it to be, in this oxidized, rusty pockets of stuff. Here's these things all cleaned up, and man, are they cool looking. Just a bunch of different mineralization in there. I remember when I was down there, Harry was talking about all this red stuff. This kind of oxidized red stuff, I think, was where the good gold was. Some stuff looks like this. That one has more quartz in it. And then there's some of these with some more kind of spongy oxidized areas. Now I want to put this little microscope on my phone. It clips right on. It's really great for looking at these slabs. I got it off Amazon. If you're interested in something like this, I'll put a link in the description below. This is that first one we looked at. We're up near the real oxidized zone. And the gold will shine back as a metallic particle. It'll be the only metallic thing we can see in here, if we can find any. Here's a little section where it looks like it entrain some wall rock in the quartz. That dark gray looking stuff. Now we're up by this spongy stuff that I think is where a lot of the real high gold values were. But it's, Harry was saying it's just so fine. But I believe what you're looking at is where the pyrite cubes have weathered out of the matrix and any of the precious metals were left behind. I didn't see anything real obvious in these samples, but be sure to check out Mine Operator's eBay page because they also have been selling samples and they might have some really cool stuff there. And if you're interested in these, email Chad and Harry at Mine Operator, let them know you're interested, and Chad and Harry let me know. I'd be happy to mail these back to you if you have some interest. Well, I just got done with the pour. I really appreciate you guys giving me some advice on the last video. I switched some things up a little bit. I added the potassium nitrate. I think that helped some. One person suggested that I add the nails after it was molten, so I tried that. I heated the cone mold up as hot as I could get it right before the pour. And now I'm gonna let this thing cool down all the way without using any water. So we'll see if any of those things help. But again, I really appreciate your guys' insight and suggestions. So keep them coming. Leave me comments down below. We'll see if we can get better at smelting as we go on. Well, here's a look at our nails, and they're still real hot, so I don't want to burn myself, but it looks like there's still quite a bit of bismuth attached to them. And so that's not good. That's where a lot of our collector metal is going to be. So I'm going to try and put those in another little crucible and we'll try and get some of that off of there. All right, what I've done is I've added 200 grams of borax, 50 grams of potassium nitrate, and a little bit of silica sand. And what do you guys think? Did I just not let the reaction go on long enough? Did the nails cause some kind of problem? They don't look like nails. They're all lumpy and bumpy and there's a bunch of junk on them. So I'm not sure what happened there. I let it run in the furnace after it was molten for about 45 minutes. And I still got a whole bunch of junk in my nails. So let's try and clean these nails up. Ooh. Well, let me get you caught up to speed here. That little fire clay crucible, I had my furnace right around the edge where the top of the charge was. It ate right through the crucible. You probably saw it in that last pour. It kind of dribbled out there a little bit. But I had to get this out of the cone mold really quick because that other crucible started leaking. So we'll see what this one looks like. I've got the nails back over here, and when I dumped them in that bin where I keep my cone mold, there's this yellow cloud came off them. I think it's sulfur. I think sulfur's giving me all my problems. But let's see what's in this cone here, and then we'll let that other one cool down, see what's in there, and I'll try and figure out what to do with these nails. Let's see what we got here. Well, there's no mat, so that's real good. See there, it's just slag all the way down. That's where the button was. We got a heck of a good button there. So I don't know if we lost much to our nails. 74 grams. So we definitely lost some metal, probably to the nails. So we'll see if we can recover any more from that second pour. Here's what the nails look like after they've gone through twice. They got cleaned up quite a bit, but there's still a bunch of junk on there, like that right there. Well, we're going to try something else since we're just on a roll here. This is a silicon carbide crucible rather than a fire clay crucible. And I got my nails in here. I've added 40 grams of potassium nitrate, 150 grams of soda ash. So now we're going to go the other way. Instead of borax, we're going to use soda ash. And I've added about 50 grams of silica sand, which I found the soda ash and the silica sand work really well together to form a nice flux. So we'll see if we can get these sulfur nails, I don't even know what the desulfurized, I guess, with this basic soda ash flux we're going to use. I've got a couple things I want to show you here. These are the nails, and they're completely coated in what I believe is bismuth. So I think that's where most of our missing bismuth wit is, on the iron. And that's obviously a problem. I broke one. I don't know if this is going to show up, but you can kind of see the nail in the middle and the bismuth on either side. So it's an appreciable amount. It's not just like a super thin coating. So I'm not sure what to do about that. That's not supposed to happen. But what I did here with this last pour is I essentially copied our first smelt, except for I used 100 grams of the number 2, which is essentially the same stuff. I added the same flux recipe in the same quantities. I added 25 grams of bismuth, but I left out the nails. So there's no iron in the smelt. And I'm interested to see if there's a matte layer. I'm interested to see if we got 25 grams of bismuth back. Okay, let's see what we got here. When I was pouring, I did see some metal come out. We got some metal back. It looks like it kind of beat it up there and didn't all coalesce at the bottom. Well, there's 25.7 grams. There's probably a couple grams of slag on there, but we recovered more metal without using the nails than we did with the nails. The other part here is there's no matte layer, which I'm just shocked about because I thought there'd be enough sulfur in there based on what we were getting with the nails. But there's no matte layer, which is pretty cool. Maybe on that stuff you don't need iron. Maybe the nails just kind of screw you up. We'll see. Something else to experiment. But now what we have is we've got our 2 buttons here. There's from our first one. There's from our second one. I'm going to cupel them separately. And once they're cupelled, we'll have our precious metals. We'll get these in their cupels here in the furnace. We heat these up to about 1800 or 1850 degrees. The cupels will absorb all the base metal oxides that are formed, and the precious metals will be left in the cupel once all the oxides are absorbed. So the bismuth is going to melt, oxidize in the oxygen-rich furnace, all those oxides get absorbed by the cupel, and then the gold and the silver will stay as a little bead in the cupel at the end. Okay, I'm going to try and do a couple things at once here. Our big cupel is finished. It's got a nice little gold bead in there. Right there. Now in here I've got some of those iron nails with the bismuth on them and a little bit of extra bismuth metal. I'm going to put that in there, see if we can kind of scavenge any precious metal off those nails with that bismuth. So we'll see how this goes. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but the idea is to see if we can get any more precious metal off those nails. What we did get, however, is a really nice yellow gold button. Oh, almost 2 grams. That's really pretty good. Let's do some math. Here's our quick math. 73 pounds is 0.0365 tons. So when you divide 1.94 grams into tons, you get 53 grams per ton. Now that is outrageously high, and in talking with Chad and Harry, that is way more than what they've been getting. Now we need to talk about contamination, because 1.5 ounces per ton is way higher than what Chad and Harry have been telling me they've been getting out of that mine. They're averaging more around like 1/4 to 1/2 ounce per ton. So where could we have ended up with some contamination? Well, there's a couple places. One is in the hammer mill. I did just run my high-grade mine ore through that hammer mill, so there could have been some gold left over there. But my larger concern is that there's actually quite a bit of gold stuck on those nails. I just grabbed some nails out of that bin that I've used over and over again, and I'm wondering if I used those nails when I smelted down my super high-grade sample, and there was some gold that attached itself to the iron, and then when I put them back in with Chad and Harry's stuff, that gold came out during the smelt, and that's where we're seeing a lot of that gold. So hopefully what I have in the furnace right now is those nails with some bismuth on them, and if we can get some precious metals off of those nails, we'll know that that may be a large source of contamination for us for our precious metals. I pulled our nails out of the furnace. I tried to wash them as best I could with the bismuth we have in there. I want to look here. Yeah, they're still pretty coated in bismuth. Yeah, so we'll see if we get any little bead of precious metal in our cupel, but I wasn't able to, wash the bismuth off or anything like that. It's still pretty coated. So there may be, I don't know, on those nails, there may be a couple, 2 or 3 grams of gold left that I'm gonna have to figure out how to get off. This is what came off our nails here. There's a little tiny gold bead in there. And then this is what came out of the number 2. Just a bunch of junk. But when you pull the junk off, look at there, there's a little tiny gold bead in there. Well, let's see if I can weigh that. That's a nice looking bead. Obviously not very big, but it's quite gold in color. And that's from the number 2 concentrates. I honestly can't remember how much I put in there. I think it was 100 grams of number 2 concentrates. We did not add any iron, and so that's California gold right there. There was no iron contamination stuff from my other mine. So let's see if we can get this weighed, and that might tell us some idea about how much gold we have in the whole sample. That came off our nails, quite gold in color, and I don't think I got very much of the bismuth off the nails. So I think there's a significant amount of precious metals left on those nails, unfortunately, and probably where a lot of the contamination, a lot of this gold came from in this button from the number 1 concentrates. So the button we got off the nails, just for reference, is about 0.018. So we got some gold off of there. And then the number 2 concentrates button is about 0.86. So coming up on 0.1 grams from the number 2. And so I don't really know how to estimate how much more gold was in there. Maybe a gram's worth, half a gram, somewhere in there. But at this point, it's really just a guess. This video is turning into more about learning about how much gold gets attached to the iron than how much gold was in Chad and Harry's ore. Well, not really the results I was looking for, and the contamination problem is something that I'm gonna just have to figure out how to deal with in the future, because if I add iron I've used before, I'm contaminating with gold. If I add fresh iron and some of the gold attaches to the iron, I'm losing gold in the sample. So I gotta really get this figured out. But I think it was a great journey. I think we learned a lot. Chad and Harry, thank you so much for letting me come down and work in your mine. If you guys have not checked out their YouTube channel yet, check them out. I'll put a link in the description below. So thanks everybody for watching. I've got a lot more work to do on the nails. There might be acids involved in a future video. There might be more smelting, so stay tuned for all that. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.